Let me just say a warm welcome to a friend of the show, Nintus McGray. Bonjour, bonjour, Jean.
Ah, so kay commencer en créole
bon matin. Non, ça partait ça partait plat ou ça mais tout les moi Nintus moi ça aussi une bonne représentation tout by Kilti, tout by Creole tout bonnement.
Oui, avec Monsieur Labonne, senior dit moi n'est pour pitcho, moi n'est pour encourager pour parler créole là.
Oui.
Good morning, St.Lucia. Good morning, the wonderful people of this Fair Helen who have tuned in to listen to what I think is an amazing program added to the St. Lucian psyche on mornings. I pray that the Lord will give you the fortitude and the longevity to continue to interact and get our day going. Merry Christmas to you. Bon Noël. Félicitations pour tout le monde qui a écouté.
And many happy returns to you, Nintus. The last time we spoke, my good man, we were talking about Junior Creole, and my oh my, how good it went down. The memories are still lingering on in the minds of so many, and we're getting closer and closer now to Christmas. It's our favorite time of the year here. I don't know about you. How does it fit in your calendar as your favorites?
Once you are St. Lucian, this is one of the most sought after, looked forward to time of the year. From the day you have your understanding of Christmas, you are immersed in love, in the uniqueness, how we understand and perceive the birth of Christ, from the religious community to what happens on the ground in the villages, in the communities. So it is one of my favorite times of year.
Excellent. Thanks for that as well, Nintus. In your community, what's it like for Christmas time, especially growing up as a boy?
Well, lots of activity, lots and lots of activity, from the older folks cleaning everything, changing the curtains. When I was little, my grandmother used to make us scrub everything to get the fey wapé and jays and put it in water and scrub the wooden floor. I don't know how this would bring this iridescence, this shine from the wood, and we would take down the old curtains, and put up new stuff that she used to stitch with her hands, and we would be pounding coffee, fresh coffee, Café Maljac, Café Zepia, Café Pachuval, Tea Cafe would have a blend of the local brew, all in preparation for the cold Christmas season. And there was this pig that would have been fattening for an entire year. Everybody would have this little animal there, and we would go by the sea to collect fresh wood to slaughter, of course. And the beverages, man, the bacontoir, the Mardi Gras, which was this prickly pear that my father used to collect by the sea, and would come home, he would extract this red juice from it and mix it with a hint of liquor and milk and local spices, and that would be bottled within there. So it was a buzz of activity.
What was that one called? That one was called the Mardi Gras?
We called it. Mardi Gras was how they called it. It was this the prickly pear.
Oh yeah. I remember seeing it in the village, in Miku village growing up. Yeah, I remember seeing it around the village.
It bears this fruit, and we would go to the coast with my father and harvest it very carefully, because it's a cactus with a lot of thorns, and we would take that back home, sit with him, slice into it, scoop out the pulp, and smash it and get this crimson red liquid. And then he would add all the spices, the cannelle, the boisden, the muscade, and all these things to it with a little bit of local brew, rum, and with milk, and he would bottle this, and that would be chilled, waiting for the children. The children could not participate in the bacontoir, which was a few degrees away from your age.
Right.
So and it would give us the Mardi Gras, which is a kind of a rum punch for the children. And I remember this very unique flavor. Nothing tastes like Mardi Gras.
Yeah. Nintus, that plant that we saw growing up on the coastlines, we don't see it quite often again, eh?
With all the developments of in tourism and climate change taking an impact on life, we have increasing incidences of spontaneous combustion. Now we have a lot of fires in the grasslands. A lot of the cactus, the indigenous plants there, they're beginning to disappear. They're beginning to become more elusive. You can still find it here and there, but it is not as prolific as it used to be back then, when everyone in the community would go and harvest their portion of the fruit.
Yeah.
Now you have to be a regular expert to be able to find it.
I wonder if one of our viewers, somebody listening, can recall the name of that fruit and just share it with us here on the platform this morning. No, I don't think it's sea grapes. We're not talking about sea grapes. We're talking about something else.
The prickly pear. It's a prickly pear cactus.
A prickly pear cactus, yes. Remind us of the name if you are able to. Nintus, let's go back and engage me for a while here. The breadfruit leaves, the washing of the floor of the breadfruit leaves to bring out that shine. Well, it was sort of a traditional way of polish. The senior folks knew how to do these things.
Most definitely. I'm beginning to believe that the sap from the breadfruit had this antiseptic, how you call this, termite. You know, some of these plants have, they produce natural pesticides to protect the plant itself. And the breadfruit leaf would not be so abrasive that it would damage the fibers and cause the floor to become scorched, you know, so we would be on hands and knees, and we would not use a brush. Sometimes we would use the bark, the coconut, the husk as well, because and this would remove all the dirt in every corner, you know, without necessarily damaging the floor. And I'm telling you, the musk of that wood it's almost amplified when it dries, and the house that you need, there'll be no need for artificial
polish,
ambient smells and polish, because you have all of this natural stuff coming out of the laurier zaboka and the laurier cannelle and all these different woods that my grandfather would have harvested himself and built from the foundation up. And this, I'm telling you, the experience is unlike any other. You can't recreate this. And as a child, it becomes indelibly etched in your memory and in your emotions. And you know, when you begin to engage in these activities and those smells and aromas, they just evoke the sense of Christmas. That's something that the fete, that the love and the camaraderie is coming. Yeah. I'm telling you, that is just the precursor to what happens as the days unfold.
And I'm happy that you gone there, because the breadfruit leaf, the aroma was part of that experience as well. It had a unique scent to it, but that's some of the traditional knowledge that our senior folk possess, and we perhaps never really studied to see what was in that breadfruit leaf. Was there some benefit in using it to help protect the wood and to help bring out that shine? But definitely it goes back to traditional day St. Lucia.
I think so. A lot of our oral history, our practices are not documented, but I want to believe that after many years of trial of using these methods, that through ancestral knowledge and all of that, it would have been passed on and refined. Now that we are schooled, we should perhaps look into carrying out some kind of experimentation, testing and whatnot, and document ascertain the scientific accuracy or basis for some of those practices, because you buy some lumber, and in a year you have to be asking the experts to come and fumigate and use artificial preserves and all of that, and it's an annual cost that you have, simply because they would be vulnerable and susceptible to attack. And our forefathers, our grandparents would have been able to do this themselves, you know, saving money, of course, and extending the life of a tradition that would have some kind of scientific departure with it. I firmly believe. So those of us here who are schooled, who are educated, can take some of these ideas and do some research, do some depth, like Dr. Paris is conducting research with the fresh coconut oil. For years we have been using it to make our fiction and rubs and to treat the flu and to penser and to treat bless and dérangement, and for stomach upsets you drink a teaspoon of fresh coconut oil with lots of indigenous practices that should be researched and documented.
Absolutely. Nintus McGray is my special guest this hour. He's warming our hearts. We're talking Christmas as we get closer and closer into the festive season, and he will have a very special performance. Nintus, just hold on for me as we say good morning to Josie Stephen. Josie, Nintus is in Canada, and she's saying it's very, very cold this morning up in Canada. So Nintus is going to bring some warmth and positive vibes to you. She's also saying, Nintus, she has some of these same memories. Back the cut of the wood, scrub the house, curtains go up, the carpet on the floor, the coffee, the charcoal. Oh, she says, those good old days. You got a sense, Nintus?
Wow.
Yeah, she's reminiscing with us as well this morning. And hi to all of our viewers across the world. Josie in Canada, thanks for tuning in. You get a sense, Nintus, that some of these traditions are slowly dying if you don't live in a village like Deriso, in a community like Deriso or Miku village or Shwazal. You get the sense that it's perhaps dying, some of these good old traditions?
Unfortunately, as we have modernized, we have shunned our cultural practices. A lot of the things that made us St.Lucian. You would see the Christmas solo from Kana and the Indians from Fonkuli. Every Christmas they would come up having made their masks from items of shredded clothing and with charcoal and other homemade paints to obscure their appearance, and they would come with the tin whistles and the taboo, and then they would do a performance with some very strange body movements that my grandfather always say, "Takitayo to show, don't let them touch you. You can make a lamp down." and we would throw coins and stand around them in a circle. I mean, the community would come there, and the Indians would do a type of Indian solo in, I think it was Punjabi, because it was not a language in my little ears that made any sense. It did not sound like what my grandparents used to speak, the Creole, and what my parents spoke, which was English. And it was quite entertaining. And this has vanished. We had this lady, we used to call her show and dance, God rest her soul. She would bring the cheval bois aspect, where you would see the pot sham. She would have one of these things on her head, some discarded clothing, and you had this guy, the wizard we used to call him, one of the very first manifestations of amplified music. He would come with an old vehicle which had this hood, and the lady would be standing on top of that. And as the merengue and all these songs and Christmas songs would begin to play, they would drive through the community, and this lady would begin to gyrate and move, you know, and bring and usher in the feeling and the sensation that this is it, and this is disappearing. You know, we'd have some of the men from Fondevaux. They would come with their taboo, and then you'd hear because children would be home for the holidays. Folks would have flown in from Cayenne or wherever they were, and we would gather around we had one street lamp at the time. Don't tell anyone. It was just one. And everybody would flock to this area. And the drumming and the singing, and the children would play tag and use the cover of night for stealth. So a lot of these do not exist anymore because we have impregnated our lives with so much foreign technology and foreign ways that we are becoming anglicized and losing the true identity of what made us St. Lucian. I wish that we would be able to go back in time to those days where you know the cafe, you grilled the cafe, and people would sit at the pilon and pound it, and then the sift to sift this thing, and everybody. My grandmother used to come at 5 a.m. and call me. She's called me Nato, ni cafe awi mwen fe ba ou, you know, and wake you up, you know, and bring
unique. There's something just unique about St. Lucian Christmas time, and even all St. Lucian traditions and culture. But as you say, we've impregnated ourselves with so much of the foreign influence now. Because growing up, I recall on Christmas morning, you would go house to house in the village, you know, and that was the tradition. People were accustomed to sharing and welcoming you into their homes. But it's now so much commercialized. We're slowly, as Nintus saying, losing a lot of these.
We still do some of the house to house in Deriso, in Blanchard. You know, the young people from the clubs and the church groups, we would dismantle the instruments, you know, the percussion, the instruments, and carry them around. Thank you, Pastor Eugene, for allowing us.
That's the Senwell. That's what you call a Senwell, is it?
It is a manifestation of the Sewenal. I hasten to say a manifestation because Monrepo would quickly tell me, my friends from Mopo, that Sepasaki Sewenala. You know, they have this very deep tradition of the Sewenal in Mopo. But we would do a version of the Sewenal, and we would use the drums and go around the community singing traditional songs and insisting that the folks come out. Let me tell you, they will be waiting with their drinks and the edibles and whatever bits of meat and fuisi and whatnot that they had prepared and waiting there and to share. And this brings the joy to see the older folks dancing to the drums, and we would sing the folk songs, and to see the young ones just wake up and the crowd gets larger and larger as we go through, singing traditional Christmas carols, traditional church songs. And this brought in the Christmas feeling. And we started from like 4 a.m. on Christmas Eve, and would go into Christmas morning, starting right here in camp. We can go around Montvent, down to Fonchic, go around Font-Bois-Pin, you know, up through Deriso, go down to Cemetery Wood, get a bit of Angers in this, and then head back up to Camp. As we do this, the folks in the central area, that's Deriso, would come out and sing Merry Christmas and wish well to everyone. And it's something that transcended politics and religion and beliefs. I mean, everyone would just come out to say hi to his neighbor and wish him well. And there was no need for big gifts and, you know, all of them things.
The little that you had, even though you had nothing to share, all was welcome during that time. I'm so happy, Nintus, that it still happens in some communities and the whole idea of the serenal with the traditional influence as well, because in the north and in other parts, many other communities, when people come house to house at Christmas, they just come to see what you have to drink, you know, and then they leave. There's none of the traditional activities. So I'm happy to know
perhaps
that
perhaps they can come back, you know, come to the countryside,
yes,
to some of the areas, to Balkan, to Mopo and Café, and of course here in Deriso,
Salty
the
Bus,
communities where it is still being done, you know.
The
I know Moshi and Babino, some of these areas have quite a bit of their traditions that have remained, that survive. So go there and participate, and then carry it with you, just not just as a spectator, but as reconnaissance, you know, go and become culturally infused and educated again, and then you get an opportunity to carry it, to inform your children, to practice some of it around that time. So Christmas, I have been told everybody who's abroad in the diaspora wants to come back to St. Lucia for Christmas, because it is nothing. The St. Lucian Christmas is like nothing you can ever experience. Everyone is slaughtering. I remember the men in my village, there was a competition. So who can have the biggest animal? And they would have saved, you know, the ginger. My folks in the communities who grew a lot of ginger, a lot of yams, a lot of toloma. And that money would have been reserved for purchasing the animal. So some folks would have raised the animal from piglet or from a cub to an adult to slaughter, and others would go to Choiseul. Now there was a tradition. The men would get all the yams, the dashin, the yam matoutan, yam blanc, yam kaplaou, the dashin lagon, banan mil-leaf, banan corn, and they would pack the pickup. You know, we had these old pickups, packed with provisions, and they would go down to Swaze to do a trade-off, a kind of a battery. So the people over there would have pigs.
Yes.
You know, there was a tradition where they raised the animals. So whoever had their stash of yam blanc and banja blanc and couscous and those things, they bring it, and they would bring a small right. They would exchange an animal for food. Provision, as you know, Choiseul would not have had the kind of forest area that we have to raise those crops. So there would be the battering, and then they would come back and then they would say, "Garçon, when you pli go cochon paso," and whoever's pig is there. And I'm telling you, from like the 21st, the 22nd, well, way before that, like the 25th of October, every morning at 4:30, you would hear the conch shell. The conch shell would be blaring. Somebody would blare the conch shell to let you know Noël Cavini, you know. And the week leading to Christmas, pigs, goats, cows, they had no rest, because you just hear one scream after another. The animals, poor thing, have surrendered their life for our own pleasure and indulgence. And we would go to each person's home to help them slaughter. And the children would be standing around for the scraps and the little pieces of meat, the muscles that would fall off when the men are cutting, and they would take the lawat, and they would take the tongue, and they would take those things, clean it up. We had this little cup with salt. That's all you needed. Select a pima. You'd have manjac, pima manjac and l'huile coco, and you'd have pima guive in a little cup. And all you needed was pepper and salt. And as soon as they give this little morsel to you, we season it very lightly, put it next to the fire, and then we would, if there were 10, we would divide that little morsel into 10 little pieces and eat. And then en route to the next site where the next animal has been slaughtered.
That's what Nintus, that's what you do not get in New York City, and you will never get in Canada. That's why so many of our citizens who are in the diaspora come home to be a part of that tradition. There is the snow, yes. You perhaps have more options and availability of food and the glitters that come with the Christmas, but the real traditions, the real cultural vibrations that are attached to our St. Lucian Christmas, it's here at home, and it's not in the snow.
Yeah.
Nintus, 2 years after COVID, it's perhaps our first time after COVID that we have an opportunity to celebrate Christmas how we would normally do. You think it's an opportunity for us to go back to the true meaning of the season, caring, sharing, and spending time with the ones that you love?
I think it's an opportune time for us to rediscover ourselves. I always say, in every situation, there is an opportunity to learn, to grow, and to be renewed. And all the distractions that had pulled us away from our indigenous practices, our folkways, our St. Lucianness, we can rediscover a lot of that. With the financial pinch and everything that's going on, that gives us an opportunity to look inward, look within our communities, look within ourselves for the different things that we used to do that meant a lot, that we had stopped doing, that we had become sidetracked with the commercialization of Christmas. So the house to house, the visiting of family, you know, some folks would have gone to work in the city, in the towns, and they to see tatat and to see nenen and to eat puin and to eat pomsite and to go and bathe in the Lovier, to fish for book and zanji and make mapa zanji, you know, these things. That is what we did when children were out of school. That's what we did when Christmas was on. Leave the comforts of the city and the walls and the noise and the exhaust and vehicles, and go back to the hills, the greenery, the springs, the fresh water, cooking food on firewood with that natural smoke. Now you have to buy hickory in a bottle when you could have just go back and take the kanawi that mom have there in the by the fouye, by the gad fire, and put a ground provision broth or one pot to cook, you know, with ditin and let cocoa and tiditin and shadow beni and these natural herbs, away from the manufactured stuff, your Grace products. I'm not knocking Grace.
Yes.
And Grace Hot 7 is not responsible for this. That's just Nintus. He does that a lot. But I'm just saying, you go back to traditional flavors, you know, and then you'd see Pap would have just by the fire, he would have a piece of tranche bois pain that's 2 days old, but it is suspended above the heat and it's dehydrating and would have developed a crust, and you can cut through that. And then he makes the ditekako for you with ditekako epesi toloma and muscad and mo kako and all these spices in there, and you get a nice hot tea. Let me tell you, take your time to put this thing against your lips because it is piping hot. The APC has a way of you needed no insulation on these cups, and he gives you a pot enamel. So you have to hold this thing very carefully so you don't burn off the skin on your hands, and slurp this hot tea with your boipin découché, your manger découché with viande rôti. I had the luxury of having grandparents who also did fishing. So we would have roast fish, poisson salé that would have been dehydrating there on the gad fire on top of the roof or next to the fire, you know. And it's almost like a locally made saltfish, you know, nice and cured, and you can roast that and throw a little bit of coconut oil on that, and squeeze a little lime if you don't like the raw, the freshness. You can tame it with a little citrus and enjoy a local breakfast with your hands, you know, eaten with the hands. So this is what I remember as a child, you know, grandpa cutting firewood. And then he had this thing, and when we wake up he would go out. My grandfather always went out first, and he would cut a coconut. And as soon as the first...
I'm really hoping that we get to reminisce that experience.
They had a chicken.
Nintus, hold on, Nintus. We lost you for a while, and I want to get this particular part of it. Your grandfather would go out and get the first coconut. You were telling us.
Yes, he gets. We had lots of coconut trees around the house, and my grandfather would get a coconut, and as the cutlass goes through this coconut, the chickens would jump from the trees, because that means he's about to prepare the meal.
Yes.
And then as soon as you hear and chickens and everything coming down, racing towards the area where he eats. And these are some of the sounds that raised us up, that woke us up in the morning. And then he would cut the coconut, and then you'd hear that little call, and then you hear chickens pull savant from all around the place coming to feed. And then my grandmother would be making the bake, so it's either big free, so you see just the aroma, or big roti, which would be done in the chaudière. And these smells were signal to the child to wake up.
It's time
Breakfast
to wake
is ready.
Yes.
Wake up. They don't need to come and call you. Let me tell you, you know that there is something scrumptious that's waiting. So you wake up and you go, and we had our favorites. And my grandmother would make those regular size bakes, and then she would make a little bake that every grandchild wanted, that little one. So big noise, because we wanted that little bake. Yeah. Or if she made local bread, she would make one little pain or tipe. So we all want the little bread. We don't want the regular size bread. I remember
bread. in my time, Nintus, they would have allowed you the dough to knead your own bake, your own small little one, or your own small little pie.
Yes,
I have a special.
That happened.
Yeah, a special viewer is saying, Nintus, what a Christmas vibe! Wow, this is nostalgic, thought-provoking, and plain wonderful. Your guest is well chosen. I'm feeling Christmas right now. So you're really stimulating some thoughts within some of our viewers this morning. Nintus, let's go back to the river with me. Earlier you mentioned the book. Is book similar to crayfish?
Book is a black crustacean. It has no pincers, and it's not found in open water. You'd almost have to look in the lagoon area, the muddy area, and you'd have to look under the busai and under the debris to get the book. So it is a crustacean, but it does not have the pincers that you'd get with your cubish bassin or cubish bouteille. But let me tell you, book has more flavor than any other crustacean. Now, St. Lucia, I think it is not legal anymore to fish in because we're losing a lot of our freshwater species. But it was an experience that we had, and we would the thing would be black, and when you boil that in the one pot, it would be orange. Its color would transform, and its juices would infuse in. You needed no butter, nothing artificial. Just the taste of this, the natural taste of this crustacean would infuse the food, and you would drink all the sauce. But we did not really care for the food. We let people take it, but we would drink the sauce. Let me tell you that the taste that's amazing. I'm salivating right now.
Yeah, Nintus McGrew, if you just joined us, he's my special guest this hour, and we're reminiscing on Christmas growing up as a child, particularly in rural St. Lucia. I'm not sure if the same is your experience if you grew up on the Myriad Street in Cash Trees, but we're talking in the main Christmas. We're celebrating Christmas, sharing experiences, and Nintus will perform in just a bit to warm our hearts as we get closer and closer to the festive to the festive season. Nintus, at your home still, is it one where you do the decor and you put up your Christmas tree, or you're strictly traditional at your home for Christmas?
Well, Christmas tree was something we saw on TV.
Let me tell you.
On the old black and white TV. What we knew were the curtains, and the mali, the carpet. My everybody would buy new mali. The smell of the new thing, in the house.
The mali, so, man. I'm not sure if it's the same now, but the mali had a unique smell itself. Yeah. Once you start rolling it out.
Yeah, and you put everything out or on the side or in the next room, and then you'd help mom or grandma or normally the ladies, you'd help them carry this piece of mali, and then you roll it on the floor, and the old mali with the marks of kerosene and whatever that had fallen on it over the year, the past year, removed. Let me tell you, they would not put that new mali, even though there's a hole or a patch where it is worn out. They're not changing that thing. They're not going to put up the new mali until Christmas.
Yeah. And the old one has to come off in its entirety.
Yes. Yeah. You have to take it off, and you have to chiwe plancher. You had to scrub the place, the wood, and then you put your new mali on the floor. And then we would not. So now the mali is there. Nobody would sleep on the bed. Everybody wants to sleep on the mali. We would just lie down, crash on the mali, and the whole family is just there lying down on the mali. The smell of the thing. So these are times and events in your life that were better than getting cologne, a bottle of something from Colombian Emeralds or something like that, and just to know that you're the first one to lie down on the mali, and you can feel the little hairs on your skin standing as the static electricity in the mali begins to interact with you. It was, I don't know, it was just invigorating to feel this energy flowing through your body. And these were wonderful experiences. So no Christmas lights or those things, just cleaning the house, changing the curtains. Like I told you, my grandmother was a seamstress. My mother became the seamstress, and she would do the hand stitching and the special designs. If it was a cotton curtain for the bedroom, they had those thicker fabric for the bedroom, so she would sit down and etch flowers, poinsettia, and those things. And we had poinsettia in the yard. We had giant poinsettia. So we knew that Christmas was coming because the red
would bloom,
Right, the red bloom would just make the yard look so different. We've not even spoken about the yard. We may not even have time to do that. But my grandmother used to cultivate ornamentals. So of course, once the inside is done, then you have to go outside. You have to strip the drain. You have to shift the ornamentals around, clean around the poinsettia. We had poinsettia growing next to the hedge, and then there was red hibiscus. It's almost a fable now. You don't see red hibiscus. You see all kinds of hybrids, but
even the
red hibiscus there, and trim it and get the baleti bomb and the tea ballet and sweep the drains. That day we would sweep the footpath leading to the house as well. Not just the yard, but the entire place would be immersed in the whole fete, and you felt it because the road was swept and the grass was cut by hand. By the way, we did not have weed eaters, so everybody have their little kutla, or you pulling out the extra shrubs that have encroached, and the hedge would be trimmed, the hibiscus hedge, and the poinsettia is in full bloom, and we had some red and white roses as well. They were not as prolific around Christmas, but we still had a few. So these were there, and the fresh curtains for the different windows, they were hung, and it said something to the child that Christmas is here, Christmas is coming. And then the arcade, you'd hear they would look for fresh batteries to put in the arcade, you know. Grandpa would make you put the old batteries on top of the roof so they are recharged, and then you would put some new ones in, and then you'd hear the mighty Pele. That was a staple. Anytime you heard.
Just stop, Nintus, because you're going way too fast. I'm going there next. We talk about we talk about the food, we talk about the traditions, and we haven't spoken about the music. You want to go there, and that's where I was headed next. So hold on for me. Somebody is making an excellent suggestion. He's saying good morning, excellent local info, and maybe we can follow Nintus Christmas this year and show on your program. Perhaps we can do a link up, Nintus. I'm thinking around the Serenal, if you can organize it. Perhaps we can follow you, yes. Package it and rebroadcast it before the year is done. Excellent suggestion. Nintus, let's talk about the music. The music was always a big part of the festivities as well. What are some of the memories you have there with the music, the traditional music in and around Christmas time?
Wow. The thing is, my grandparents were musicians. My grandfather played the guitar and the tambour. Mm-hmm. My grandmother sang. So music was always part of the festivities. So the arcade they would crank up the arcade, you know, wipe up the dust and put new batteries in there. And then the mighty Pele, long time, I play. No person well. I mean, that was
traditional.
Yeah, I said that was, hey, you better start moving because we're here. I have arrived. That was the Christmas anthem.
Yeah.
And that permeated the community. And of course the songs. We did sing some English songs as well, because you know there was radio. Mm-hmm. So the Merry Christmas and we wish you a Merry Christmas on Silent Night. Even though my older folks did not speak English, they sang the English songs. So God bless them for that. But the nights, the men would come out with those taboos, you know, and the tibois and the shak. Mm-hmm. And then the conte and the debot, they'll be singing and dancing in the little gatherings. Like I told you, there was this one lamppost that was my grandfather had a big hall, a wooden structure they called the hall. So, so they would come up on Monka, you know, and that was located there by a big mango tree. And folks would gather around that, and then you'd hear the mijabla, the woy, mijabla, yonde toi timama,
bijabla
manger. That was to get the children moving, you know, and we made masks with the calabash. You know, we would scoop out the pulp from inside of the calabash, put holes in there, put it to dry, and use chichima and nanua. Nanua is a ruku. This orange the rastas used to cultivate it a lot. It's very orange, the seeds, and we use that to color, and we use wash punch
to color the inside of the calabash.
The outside as well, because we needed to make masks with it, so we use charcoal. And we use those different soft rocks to design and to make your mask unique. And the children would have those masks on their faces, because, you know, Serenal was coming, you know, the Indians would come with solo, and they had their masks. And you had to have your mask. So we prepared ourselves with our own creations to be part of the whole celebrations around Christmas.
Excellent.
And all kinds of songs. They made songs on each other. There was instant composing. You know, once the taboo is going and the shack, somebody would just come in and begin to and not only sips and grow, but also happen during the year. You know, eating.
Let's hold on, Nintus. We seem to be losing Nintus.
Yeah. Okay. We have fluctuations in flow service, so there are times that you might get a bit of a fluctuation.
I know your the World Cup is on, so I have personally registered where you live with my good sponsors who will rectify your service shortly, young man. Lastly for me on Christmas, and then I'll allow you to wish your friends and family a Merry Christmas before the performance. But what was it on the night going into the morning of Christmas as a young man growing up, looking forward to the present on Christmas Day? What was that like for the children within the household?
Well, my grandmother would have already made coupe. She always made cake, you know, coupe. And sometimes if there was still mayo, they would make pone. So that is right there sitting. Can't honestly, you know, you can't interfere with it. So there would be coupe that is made, and the drinks they would take them out and put them on the table. You know, they would the table would have all different beverages. You know, who bought a bottle of this, who brought a bottle of that. It was there, and you don't sleep from Christmas Eve to Christmas morning. That was the traditional Juve. So now people go out to do the Juve, but everyone did the Juve, and animals would still be slaughtered. So you ready in yourself for an all night to go all around to the different areas where people are slaughtering, and you can hear what's happening because the animals are very loud and the screechings are very pronounced, and then you put on something with a sleeve because you know it's a little chilly, and the children would band together and stay away from the adults because you know at that time the adults would have moved into stronger beverages because Christmas is here, and the children would now go with go with the children. So the rum punches and the fresh beverages that would have been prepared for children, you were given some of that. You'd have your glass, they would tell you don't throw it. So as you go around to the different houses, because it starts on Christmas Eve, as you go around, you'd get a little pour of something. If it is too strong, it would be diluted. You know, at that time, they would allow you to indulge a little bit, not overdo it, but indulge a little bit. They were very discreet to ask, where have you been? So they can gauge how much you may have consumed. and to know what to give you when you get there. And they would have probably, but the very unique thing for me, well, I don't know if it was unique, but my grandparents would not cook the meat. It was too fresh. They would stew the liver. And my grandfather would have had some fish there from what he caught that would have been either salted, dried, or when refrigeration became a thing, we used to put it in the fridge by auntie. So it would go and get it from there. So between Christmas Eve and Christmas Day, meat was almost never consumed. We left it for after Christmas because the first pot of meat would be stewed on Christmas Day, going into Christmas holiday. It was the largest pot of meat that I would ever see or experience. And very little food, but a lot of meat. So that day you get like, you would probably get one piece in the earlier months, but on that day you get like 4 lovely pieces of viande in your plate. Let me tell you, there was nothing more glorious than seeing more meat in your plate, and with a local bread. And around that time we would see pomte. We did not know what pomte was, but around that time they would have purchased pomte to give you some pomte with the viand, and then they would give you the pomte would be in for Christmas holiday, because Christmas holiday is soup. So they would get viand, no pork. It had to be viand beef, whether it is lapo beef, laquen beef, jawe beef, or any part of the cow. It had to be viand beef on Christmas holiday. It was sacrilegious to consume any other meat on Christmas holiday, and it had to be that soup. I never liked the soup, but I wouldn't dare. I wouldn't dare say but I don't like soup. But you have to eat what is given to you. So I would gleefully indulge. And this is so the progression from Christmas Eve into Christmas Day, into Christmas burnt out tables, and there is as the laid back for family. You stay in the far because you don't have the to sustain through. So it's sort of would serve soup. Village in city, people made soup, all kinds of soup, but it had to be viand in the soup.
Did you know that St.Lucia
this morning?
Yeah, we're losing you in and out.
Body,
we're losing you in and out.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, it's no fault of yours. We can hear you loud and clear now.
Okay.
We can hear you loud and clear. Now we're reminiscing.
So I was saying, there would be mass. Everyone attended church on Nanwit Noel. Nanwit Noel is not Christmas Eve, but Christmas Day at midnight. Whether you were Adventist, Pentecostal,
interesting,
Nowerian, anything, everyone attended service, Nanwit Noel. And of course, it's almost, Father, forgive me for what I'm about to do. Because
that's what it was. That's really what it was.
When you leave church, you just, yes. So that was what it was for us in Kambigan and in Deriso, in Blanchard, in Titu, in Fonchik, and these areas that are neighboring settlements and communities of where I live.
What was it like for you, St.Lucia? Did you know, or how much of these traditions do you even recall? Nintus recalls them vividly. My very special guest this hour sharing so much knowledge, so much information on what it used to be Christmas here on the island of St. Lucia, some of which still remains, but in the main the traditions is slowly being replaced by foreign influences. Nintus, I'll allow you now to wish your family, friends, and the nation on a whole a Merry Christmas and all the best for the season, and then we'll take in the musical performance, some of your favorite Christmas songs as well as some of your own.
Let me use this occasion to say thank you to the folks at Hot 7. It would be remiss of me to not thank you for presenting me with an opportunity to share and relive some of my childhood memories. And let me say, if you are able to find family, rekindle relationships and friendships, because when everything else fails and goes away, it is these relationships and these kinships that we have developed along the years that sustain you. You can always fall back on family. You can always get a smile. You can always get a kind word. And of course, as in regular St. Lucian tradition, you get a plate of food. There's always food at your relative for you. If you don't eat, they are offended. So do that. And I have relatives, my sister in Martinique. I know she's tuned in. My favorite, I have 3 sisters. So let me take that back. One of my favorite sisters, she's tuned in, she's listening. Thank you. I want to share love with you and your family in Martinique. My brother in Canada, he must have already left for work, but stay blessed, my brother. Right here in Blanchard, my mother, my dad, they're still alive, they're still there. And my other siblings, I have 2 sisters and a brother who are here in St. Lucia with me. All the love. I hope we can, share some of those memories as the season comes. And to St. Lucia and St. Lucians from all around, I know that I have lots of fans. My students at the Graniville Secondary School and the staff of my school. The community is tuned in. I am their favorite son. I know that. Yes. I'm the favorite son. Indeed. They have tuned in. Our esteemed Senator, Gideon Ferdinand, who is my biggest fan. Everything I do, I can do no wrong for this man. He supports all of my endeavors. I want to say thank you for this over the years. I may not have said it, but I wish you a Merry Christmas. And to St. Lucians in the diaspora, my friends in Canada and folks in Girls United, Miss Naomi Jules, we have this foundation that I am the president of the St. Lucia chapter. And lots of other organizations, the young people in church, the councils that I work with, youth and sports councils, and everyone whom I get an opportunity to share experiences and memories with. My music, South Tent, my production crew, Semi Francis and the guys. Merry Christmas. God be with you. And this coming year is a stepping stone again into discovery, into newness. Do not allow the things that come to break us, but instead use them as energizers to explore your new self and to create new avenues for yourself. As long as there is life, there is grace, and there are possibilities, because this is how the Lord Almighty has prescribed it to be and has predetermined it to be. So thank you and Merry Christmas.
Excellent words of advice from Nintus, bringing an end to the discussion part of this segment. We will be graced by the voice and the performance of Nintus, who will sing for us on the platform live some of his favorite Christmas songs and some of his own songs as well, as we go closer and closer to Christmas. Nintus, you'll perform now and then you'll stay on just for a few minutes. It's World Cup time, you know. I have to talk football with you, but let's get into the mix of things. And you can now warm the hearts of the many St. Lucians abroad who will not make the journey home this time with some good old St. Lucian Christmas music.
St. Lucia, remember, Nintus is on social media platforms. Please support his music. Go on YouTube. I have everything there. Stream them, add them to your playlist, okay? This song is very special to me. Let me sing it. Let me just stop talking and perform. We're having a party, having a fete, having a party, a Christmas fete. We're having a party, having a fete, having a party, a Christmas fete. Sing, oh, sing it well. A joyful news, good news to tell. Sing, oh, Emmanuel. We're having a party, having a fete. We're having a party, a Christmas fete. We're having a party, having a fete. We're having a party, a Christmas fete. In Chelsea's day, Jesus born, the ancients say, Christ is born, it's Christmas Day. We're having a party, we're having a fete, we're having a party, a Christmas fete. We're having a party, a big fete. We're having a party, a Christmas fete. Thank God in jail. It don't matter as long as it is there. Ding-ding-ding-bo, tumpi-tumpi-tumbo. Kara-kata-kara-kata, tumpi-tumpi-tumbo. Michael, blow your horn. The Messiah's gone. Your buildings in the celebrated one. Holy, glory to the Christmas party. Yeah. We're having a party, having a fete. We're having a party, a big fete. We're having a party, a Christmas fete. We're having a party, a big fete. Listen, drummer boy, blow your thing, let it sing from the drum. Play the rubber pum 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 in a Caribbean rhythm. Drummer boy, do your thing, play the thing from the drum. Play the rubber pum 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 in a Caribbean rhythm. Yeah, having a fete, a party, yeah. Peace and joy, spread the news to the world. Oh, spread the joy, a big fete. Oh yeah. Christmas fete, yeah. Peace and joy, spread the news, spread the joy. It is a fete. We're having a fete. Okay, so that was Christmas fete. And I try to capture the church, and I try to capture the culture, and I try to, bring all of that into what we know. Let me do another one quickly, one of my favorite ones. This one is for the children. I'm a teacher, I'm an educator. My wish, my list is to love a child this Christmas Day. My gift is a love that never leaves. I pray, and my gift will bring Christmas to a child today. My wish is Christmas never goes away. Can you imagine if every child everywhere could find a way to a heart that will love them Christmas Day? A place filled with jingle bells, Yuletide songs, lemon drops, and candy cane. Daddy's hugs and mommy's kisses on their face. Ooh, my wish, my lips to love a child this Christmas Day. My lips is a love that never leaves. I pray, and it's will be Christmas to a child to stay. My wish is Christmas never goes away with the holy child and the promise to each and every that hope and glad tidings in their world. Give them family and feel you get message roaring yeah. And each bell that rings is a message that we can. Oh my wish, my list is to love a child. This Christmas day, my list is to is a love that never lives. I pray and we'll bring Christmas to a child today. My wish is Christmas never goes away. Angels sing from on high, sing of a love so bright. Even in the darkest night, give your love at Christmas. Let your love show and watch it grow. It's another child, it's Christmas Day. It's a love that never dies. And we'll bring Christmas to just Christmas never. So to all the children who are listening, my students at the Granivere Secondary School, they have to go to work, by the way. They are tuned in and listening. My music students, I teach music at the Granivere Secondary School, and I want to say all the best to them. You are loved, and my wish is that all of these blessings and the joys will come upon you and your family during this festive season. Yeah. Do I have time for one more, sir?
One more, but I really want to spend a minute on that last song. Excellent rendition. My favorite thus far. I'm hoping that you're able to top it with this next one. But just before we move on, contribution from a viewer. Great keynote speech by Toastmaster Nintus on St. Lucian Christmas traditions. Congratulations. Loving it.
I forgot the Toastmasters. Please forgive me. I am a Toastmaster, a proud St. Lucian in a wonderful organization. You need to join. You need to check it out. Okay, I'm putting in a quick plug in. Yeah. Wonderful. Teaches you how to express yourself and communicate. Thank you, Madam President.
One more from Nintus McGray as we conclude this morning. We're getting closer and closer to Christmas, and he continues to warm our heart with musical renditions today.
At some other time, I'm going to do the Caribbean flavor, but now I'm doing the, because I think it's blessed joy.
Stay with us. We go up until 9 o'clock. There's some very important information that we will share with you momentarily as well. But we'll celebrate Nintus this morning.
Joy to the world, joy, 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 joy to the world. All the earth break forth in joy with I acclaim unto the Lord, with I acclaim unto the Lord. Joy, oh, joy in every land. Increase, joy to every race, joy and see, joy to you and me. Merry Christmas to all. As and lasses, boys and girls, to King of earth and sky, to Jesus, meek and mild, to Jesus, meek and mild. This Merry Christmas was foretold. Mortals wise of days of old. To him who precious was the world, and prophet that to hold the dreams he come back to atone. All the earth break forth in joy. Let raise joy over land and sea. To you and me. Merry Christmas, walking rings. Oh, to joyous time is here. To us who offer to a king. Us and not with him to be the glad tidings. All the earth break forth in joy with fire flame unto the Lord, with fire flame unto the Lord. Joy, let me die, song and free. Joy everywhere, the land and sea. Yeah, you and me, yeah, yeah. Joy to every dialect, joy to every race, St.Lucia. In the diaspora, joy, 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 stay joy, joy. Joy, joy to you and me.
Only the
Thank
way,
you very much.
Only the way Nintus knows how to do it. Thank you for gracing us with your musical talents this morning. And from us here at Good Morning St. Lucia, we wish you and your family the very best for the festive season. We wish that you find time to connect with the ones that you love. And may the good Lord above continue to shower you with every blessing because you deserve them all. The new year is a year that we look forward to more progress, more music, and more positive vibrations from you, Nintus Magre. So we wish you the very best during this festive season.
One more thing quickly. Tomorrow is the feast
of musicians. Yes, and we will be celebrating here on the platform. We're in the loop, you know, Nintus. We're current.
Okay, good. So let me wish everyone in the musical fraternity,
yes.
Balance Inc., the Calypso Association,
yes.
everyone, the producers, Jackie, you know, all those persons who have gone before us to pave the way and those who are coming, the umpires and the new ones. May you continue to change the St. Lucia landscape with your lyrics, with your powers of entertainment, and with positivity.
Yes.
Reach out to the young people, reach out to the disenfranchised, reach out to the youth. They need it. And may God richly bless you. Thank you so much, and you have a pleasant day.
St. Cecilia's Feast of... So hold on, Nintus. St. Cecilia's Feast of Musicians tomorrow Our good friend Izai Hall is leading our efforts to have some of the very best here on this platform, and will be around Castries as well. You know, the musical bands normally take to the streets in and around the city, so we'll have some live streams down there as well. But definitely we are current, and we will be celebrating musicians tomorrow here on Good Morning St. Lucia. Thanks for that, Nintus. Two things before we go. You didn't mention the sorrel, but I know there's so much that you could have mentioned and you didn't mention. You didn't mention the sorrel.
Yeah, we planted sorrel. My grandmother made sure that we planted pangol because you had to make pangol with the one pot. So poisson bœuf, pois pangol, you had to have those planted with the sorrel around September, 26 September, when the cold wind begin to enter, when you begin to feel the change in temperature.
Yes.
Then you plant those, and you plant the lozay, and you know that for Desam, you had to go with her up to the garden to harvest the lozay, take it down home, cut out the fruit bearing part, and do it the traditional way. She would take all of those local spices, the cannelle, the boaden, and those things. She would steep it in warm water, and then she would put the warm water, not hot water. People are just pouring hot water on the sorrel. It is destroying some of the nuances and the flavors in the warm water. Just
and you let
enough
it
to draw out, right? Just to draw out the essence from the roots that you would have put in there in the backs, and you pour it over the sorrel, and you cover and you put it in a cupboard. She had this cupboard nice and protected, and the following day, so there would be a little bit of fermentation happening there. So it left this lingering tingling flavor at the back of your throat when you drank it, because it was an overnight preparation that she did. And then she would bottle that, of course, sweetened and bottled, and that would be perfect sorrel. Sorry for forgetting the sorrel, but definitely that was a serious part of what made Christmas for us.
Excellent. And Nintus, before I let you go, everyone's eyes are now glued. Well, 90% of the global eyes are glued to the television screens. FIFA World Cup now on, the biggest sporting event globally by far. Who's your pick?
Brazil.
You're smart man, a smart man.
Let me I am a coach. I am a licensed coach, by the way. Yes. I coach soccer. I coach Blusher United. Big up to my club.
Yes.
I think I know a little bit about football.
Smart man, smart choice. I think this year is definitely the choice for Brazil. But let's see how it goes. Lots of football to come. Nintus will catch up again before Christmas, I'm certain.
Of course. Check me out on YouTube. Like the songs. Add them to your playlist,
yes.
And subscribe to my channel. Give me some love. Thank you very much, St. Lucia. May God be with you.
Nintus McGree, my very special guest this morning, talking Christmas. So we talked a little bit about football, getting his prediction on the World Cup. But in the main, bringing us back to those good old days of St. Lucian tradition and culture growing up in and around the rural communities around Christmas time. It's slowly upon us. We're celebrating here on Good Morning St. Lucia. This week we'll have a special giveaway from one of our corporate partners in keeping with our festive programming. We'll also share some more Christmas stories, some musical performances as well, right here on Good Morning St. Lucia. Continue to stay with us. Let's take a quick break. 9.5 minutes or so before 9 o'clock. We end on top of the hour. I'll have a preview of the upcoming FIFA matches today, and a very special reason why you should cook with Sol gas this Christmas season. All that and more next.